You should definitely get a massage, but here's 10 things you should know first. Hello, and welcome back to another episode with Panda Raf and Mr. Tango, bringing you some massage education. Today, we're going over 10 things you should know before getting a massage. Yeah, so you're thinking about getting a massage, you should definitely be getting a massage if you're on the fence. But here's 10 things you should know beforehand. So, number 1, the session is absolutely all about you. So, be sure to voice your expectations beforehand. Stuff like what kind of pressure you like during a session, what kind of areas you want to focus on. And that's a big one. You know, I've gone into a session before, where I was getting a massage, not giving it, but getting it. And I told the lady that I wanted focus on my quads. And she said, "We'll get to it if we get to it." Which was such a bizarre response. And totally not cool. So just remember, this session is all about you. Make sure you voice what needs to be taken care of. If you need something to be focused on, let your massage therapist know. Of course, communication is absolutely key. So make sure it's voiced. Number 2, you can speak up during the session. So let's say you voiced all of your expectations beforehand, but during the session you found out that, wow, I asked for a lot of pressure and I don't feel like I can take this much pressure right now. Usually your massage therapist is going to pick up on certain cues, certain nonverbal cues, and they'll probably adjust throughout the session. But maybe you were really adamant beforehand. You were like, "No, I absolutely want heavy pressure." And then during the session, you're like, "Actually, I don't know." Don't be afraid to speak up, and don't be afraid to change some of the parameters of the session during the session. You don't want to get to the end and then speak up, because we can't do anything about it at that point. But if you speak up in that moment, then, we can absolutely salvage some of the time, and you can feel heard, and you can feel seen and be valid. So speak up. Absolutely speak up. Number 3, the sheets should absolutely always be changed in between sessions. If you get to a spa or a clinic and for some reason you feel like they aren't clean, you can absolutely request that they be changed again. That shouldn't be a problem. I know some couples will reuse sheets. Like I'll work on a husband and then work on a wife. That's not such a big deal. I mean, for them. For me, like, I absolutely want to change those sheets. It's like drilled into us. But you deserve to have clean sheets as you get in your session. 100%. Moving on to number 4. You can talk during your session. And I'm not talking about like voicing your expectations or changing parameters of the session or what needs to be focused on. No, you can just talk or not. There's zero expectation there. And I know some massage therapists do have a preference about this, and most of the time they're looking out for you. Some of them think by talking, you're not really delving into the session, not allowing yourself to feel the session. But I like to hold the belief that as you talk, that is, in a sense, therapeutic for you. And that is kind of your way of releasing. So feel free to talk throughout the session. You'll notice most massage therapists you work with aren't going to be very talkative back. And we're trained to be that way. We're trained to let you do all the talking if you're going to talk and not bombard you with our personal anecdotes and whatnot. Now, I do get into some pretty deep and personal conversations with some of my clients, but those are dear friends of mine, and I think those are exceptions to the rule. Next on the list here, number 5. So when you get to your session, a lot of sessions call for you to disrobe. Disrobe to your comfort level, whatever that might be. Even if you get to the session and you're thinking, "Wow, I want a massage, but I'm not comfortable disrobing at all." Like, that is my comfort. That's fine. Absolutely fine. If you want to get on that table fully clothed, awesome. In fact, in some cases, when you have like really stretchy clothing, that's actually preferable for, let's say if you're doing a session that's going to involve a lot of stretching. It's easier when the person is just clothed with stretchy clothes, right? So in some cases, it's even a good thing to stay fully clothed. Don't ever feel pressured into one way or the other. I'm the kind of guy who gets fully disrobed for like a foot massage. So that's just how I am. If you are the kind of person who, like, that's your line right there, you don't want to get disrobed, like, being touched is already like a limit for you that you're kind of pushing, do not fret at all. Like, again, it's all about you, and we're trained to work around that kind of stuff. There's shiatsu, there's chair massage techniques, there's compressions, all sorts of stuff that you can do during a session, even if the person is fully clothed. Now, understand, you're not going to get a lot of the gliding techniques, and that's just a trade-off that's going to happen. But don't fret. Next on the list here, don't eat a heavy meal beforehand. Yeah, there's going to be all sorts of stuff going on with the blood flow and everything like that. We don't need it redirecting towards the gut during the massage. In fact, you should probably not eat a heavy meal even right after. Wait a little bit, just take it easy on the body. With that in mind, number 7, don't drink any alcohol beforehand. Now, I know how it is. Like, maybe you don't have a lot of time off and, like, you have this day off, massage is on it. You're thinking, I'm going to really, like, expand on the experience and have some alcohol with it, or maybe some other kind of recreational drug. Now, I think a little bit, okay, we could probably work with a little bit. Yeah, I've been in these scenarios before where somebody mentioned they had a drink as they were getting on the table, and you just kind of work with it. Like, again, if somebody has, like, this is the only time off that they have, and this is going to make them feel special, and there aren't really any heavy repercussions from it, then sure, let's entertain it. But being drunk, I mean, like, drunk, or being under the influence, like heavy influence of other recreational drugs, even your medication, you really shouldn't take before the session, because, again, we're pushing all sorts of fluids around, we're messing with all sorts of stuff. Like, really what's happening is, as we're increasing blood flow, the localized blood flow, what can happen is more blood can get filtered through the liver. So what can happen in that case is you kind of peak through this experience, right? With alcohol, you get drunk really, really fast. In some cases, I've heard this from colleagues, throwing up has happened, right? You don't want to put yourself in that scenario. It sounds like a really good idea. It's really, really not. Again, a little bit I can tolerate. A lot, though, we really have to start, like, having this conversation if you can actually get the massage. Next on the list, number 8. It's always a good idea to be hydrated. Here in Arizona, I mean, this is obviously a desert. Most people don't drink enough water. I don't know how y'all function. I'm constantly drinking water. Even just talking about it right now, I'm getting thirsty. We're going to pause the video for a second. I want you to get a drink of water because I care about you. Okay, now let's go on with the video. Drink some water. Everything is going to function better with more water, especially the changes that we're going to be making during the massage. So always a good idea. You're going to hear something about, flushing out toxins or this or that. I personally haven't read any studies about that, but I do know that water is good. So get it in your system. Number 9, the tip is not obligatory. Whenever I am wrapping up with a client and we're getting payment taken care of and everything like that, then we get to the screen where it asks for a tip. I always mention that it's not obligatory. Some people are scraping pennies together to get their session done, and I don't like a person to feel like they have to pay more. It is appreciated. Every dollar is appreciated. I remember when I was working for Massage Envy and I would get, $1, $2, $3 tips. Like, I loved it and appreciated it every time. The tips have gotten a lot bigger since then, and I love and appreciate every single one of them. But if you are new to getting massages, don't feel like this is like you're going to get poorer service because you're not tipping. No. Don't feel like you have to, but it is very much appreciated. Yes. And number 10 here, plan for some time and some space after your session. You might want to squeeze a session into your day, and that's cool. Some people are into that, but I find the experience is much more beneficial when you give yourself just some time and some space, just relax and just zen out after the session. I shouldn't say a lot of places. Not a lot of places kind of like rush you out of the establishment. There are a few places that have these nice comfy chairs and a dark room that you can sit in. I say you take advantage of that. Really, I say you take advantage of a mobile service like Living Kinetics, where we just come to you. So once you're done with your session, you don't have to drive anywhere. You can just kind of melt off of the table onto the couch, and there's the rest of your day right there. Of course, you can find us at livingkinetics.com. Our phone number is on the screen for you right now. If you have any questions, you can email us. And hey, did I mention that I wrote a book? I think I mentioned that I wrote a book. I wrote a book. And I'm even coming out with a part 2. Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. So stay tuned for all that, because I got tons of updates coming for the company here, and it's going to be so cool. And so many more videos are coming up. So thank you so much for your attention today. I thoroughly appreciate you. And always remember to be safe and stay safe, and be awesome and stay awesome. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.